This is Peter Campbell. I'm the president of the Tennessee Valley Lego Club. We're a club in Tennessee and North Alabama. We've got chapters in Knoxville, Nashville, and Huntsville, Alabama. And this is our layout at BrickFair Alabama 2016.
And so I guess could you give us a little bit of a tour of your lovely layout here?
Absolutely. We'll start down here. We've got our Nashville chapters, got a little fairground area just to kind of start things off.
Lots of Ferris wheels?
Lots of Ferris wheels. We love the Ferris wheels. Anything that spins.
Very nice, very nice. And so how did the club form?
We started back in about 2008 and started out as a train club, if you can't tell.
Okay.
And it was just kind of a lug net thing, posted an email, and a few of us got together, and it's kind of taken off ever since.
That's amazing, amazing. And you have a beautiful train layout here and a beautiful train yard. So maybe could you point out some of the trains we have on display here?
Sure. A lot of these on this table are custom. Of course, you got a few that you recognize with the Santa Fe series and some of the Maersk, but David Bissell, one of our club members, has really pretty much done the rest of them just on his own.
Awesome, awesome. And I love the shuttle touch. I believe Huntsville has a little bit of space history, maybe?
That's right, yep. Huntsville is called the Rocket City. So we've got a pretty good NASA presence there in town, and so yeah.
Awesome, awesome. And then moving on down here, let's take a look at this building here. What is this?
This is just one of David's train buildings. So we've got a little depot, I guess, up there and a restaurant on the top floor maybe. But just a good view of the trains.
Awesome, awesome. And then coming on down here, we have a really cool kind of sunken section. How do you guys achieve a sunken area in the layout like this?
Well, that's a good question. This is kind of new for us. We wanted to do a bridge and get a little bit of elevation change. So we just lowered the table basically, chopped the legs off, and kind of went from there. So this is really just our second layout with a bridge that's functional. And the first show, it didn't work so well, but it's been a pretty good show for it so far.
Awesome, awesome. And then moving on down here, what is this, a construction scene or some kind of mining activity?
Yeah, John Lennon, one of our members, has done a little construction and mining area here. This is his first show with us, so we're glad to have him on the layout.
John Lennon appears to have peeked out behind the curtain there. Hello, John Lennon. And then moving on down, I'm really noticing wonderful ballast that you guys have on the layout. And I know that can be a challenge, just acquiring parts and kind of figuring out who does what. How did you guys approach the challenge of ballasting the tracks on your layout?
Well, it's been an ongoing process for the club, in all honesty. It's probably been 4 or 5 years of bulk purchases, and we started with a plan. One of us kind of just started with it, everybody liked it, and we kind of all hopped on board. So it's been a good thing for a collaborative layout to get something like that over the whole layout of this size.
Definitely, definitely. And then I see some lovely train sheds there.
Right, yep, that's just one of the Lego kits. Got the train shed there for working on some of the engines there, just to give a little detail to the big train yard here.
Certainly, certainly. And then moving on down here, what other trains are we looking at? I see a Norfolk Southern train, little model poking out there.
Yeah, we got the Norfolk Southern, that's one of mine. Did both of those engines, and then all the coal cars. Those coal cars are things you see typically in North Alabama.
Definitely.
Just modeled those after a picture. I think we get coal from the Wyoming area, and they bring it to a power plant here in Alabama. So it was one of my mocks, actually.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
And then coming on down here, what else do we have to look at? This plane appears to be floating in mid-air.
Yeah, we've got some aviation going on here. Got to get people to and fro, so got a couple of those. Kids seem to enjoy seeing the airplanes flying around.
And are you suspending it using, I guess this is like a kind of industrial scaffolding? That's what it almost looks like?
Yeah, well, planes are heavier than they look, so you got to beef it up.
That's awesome, awesome. And then coming on down here, it looks like we have the beginnings of a little bit of a street scene.
Yep, we've got the backside of some of our Huntsville buildings, so this area is kind of modeled off of downtown Huntsville, Alabama. We've got Santa, he was a little late in December, so he's just now delivering toys to North Alabama.
That's why he's delivering them to the back of the building.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't want anybody to know what's going on, so there he is.
Very cool, very cool. And then this is a beautiful building, and it appears to be one of your own, Peter?
It is, yep. So this is the courthouse in downtown Huntsville. We've got a side of the square next to it. Harrison Brothers there is a old hardware store. I think it's the oldest continuously operating hardware store in the state. So it's got a little bit of historical significance.
Now, when you're building a building based on something that, like a real-life building, I guess you would say, what do you kind of use as your design process? Do you break down the building into like a scale?
Yeah, I typically break it down into roughly a minifig scale because I like to have minifigs in the scene. But aside from that, you're kind of looking for that one key part that defines a piece of the building that you can actually get in from Lego.
Sure.
And then you kind of build around that. So on the courthouse, for instance, it was the door rails for the vertical ribbing on the building, and each building kind of has its own, place that you start, at least for me.
And then as far as scale goes, what would you say, one stud to 1 foot?
Roughly. Yeah. First floor, I typically go about 5 or 6 bricks per floor. And then it varies a little. I'll cheat it on the top floors a little bit, just maybe to save some bricks or get it to fit whatever parts I have to work with.
Totally. And then moving on down here, another lovely building, one of your own, I believe?
Yep, thank you. Yeah, this is new this year. I've been doing about one a year, and this is the new one for this year, the First National Bank. It's one of the older buildings in downtown, but I love the copper roof and getting to use that green tile. So that was pretty cool.
Now, sand green, that is one of the rarer Lego colors these days.
Yeah, my apologies to anybody that's now looking for 1x4 tiles in that color. So I've got them all right there.
Awesome. And then I see another really nice, sunken section. What is this based off of a real life sort of river walk type of area?
Yeah, they've got what they call Big Spring Park in downtown. It was the original water source for the city. And there's still a spring that flows there, and it's just smack in the middle of downtown, so that's what that is.
Awesome. And then I believe we have a Huntsville Municipal Building, and that's just me shamelessly reading off the mock card, but once again, a lovely building, Peter.
Oh, thank you. Yep, so that's the mayor's office. It's kind of got some unique architecture with the marbling downtown. But anyway, there was a lot of snot work that went into that to kind of get the look of the marble panels just
looks
right.
Like streamlined modern style almost.
Yeah, it was kind of the 1960s,
Yeah.
The space race was big. That's when Huntsville was really growing, and so yeah, you kind of had a lot of that architecture.
Very cool. And then coming on down here, we have some more train tracks, and then another Regent Center built by some guy named Peter.
Yep, that's me again.
Okay.
So this was one of my first Huntsville buildings, but it's the biggest building in downtown Huntsville. So last year I added the lights up to the top, which are kind of an iconic feature for the Regent's building now. But
and it looks like a more recent kind of 1990s style.
1990s, yep, you got it.
Very nice.
Absolutely.
Nice. And then it looks like we have something more for comic relief here. What do we have here, Peter?
Yep, so this was Jennifer Garland's section and Lee Pitts. So they did this, part of the Myths and Legends theme for this year's BrickFair.
Very nice.
Yep, so Lee came up with all the cute little buffaloes there. And
They're adorable. Yeah.
They are, and they've kind of stampeded into the town, so, they get away from you.
That's awesome. I love the use of those eye elements. Of course, easily available on Pick-a-Brick now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. And take a quick look here down the Old West town. Here's the saloon.
Yep, so we got Woody there enjoying a bath in the water tower, but this area was Jennifer Garland's section, so she always does a great job applying whatever bricks she has to the theme of the year.
Beautiful. And then it looks like we have a little bit of a winter kind of retreat area.
Yep, we've got a campground. Brian and Melissa Schuster did this area. So, we've got Emmett learning to skate, and we've got one of the Where's Waldo characters, which have been really popular looking find for this year's BrickFair.
That's awesome. The Up a Creek Camp.
Up a Creek Camp, that's right.
Very nice. And this is probably one of the more absurd structures I've really ever seen. How many monorail stacks of monorail tracks do we have?
Well, all I know is this is just a fraction of Charles Nauman's monorail collection. So it's kind of been a staple at every one of our shows, and it grows or shrinks depending on his whims. But he's definitely the monorail guru of the club.
And is it an infinite loop? It looks like it might be.
Pretty much. I've not stood here long enough to find out, but it might take a while.
That is dizzying, I guess would be the right word.
Yep, absolutely.
And then coming along here, another interesting sunken area. What do we have here? It looks like there's something right down there.
Yep, so this is one of our teen builders, Caleb Ellett. It's his section. He did these 2 tables for BrickFair. Had to lower his tables, kind of something a lot of people have tried in the club this year. But anyway, he always does really good work. So he's got kind of a mech section there, and so he always does a good job with his stuff.
Very nice. And then what is this big green area? What's the story there?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure.
I want to say like a mech battle pit or something?
Yeah, well, and this opens up into there, so there may be something going on to that effect.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice. And scooting along down here, another lovely little town scene.
Yeah, we kind of get back to the town, so Bill Boatner kind of starts us back off into town land here with his Coca-Cola truck and just some other stuff happening there in town.
And it looks like we have some audio-visual equipment here.
Yeah, we've typically got a train cam running. He's running around right now, but I think our GoPro battery's getting a little low.
That's what happens when you run it.
Yep, that's right.
Awesome.
Yep.
And it looks like another GoPro mounted up here, so you are a technologically savvy club.
We try to be, except when we run out of batteries.
Oh. And then coming on down here, another sort of lovely town section.
Yep, so this is Chris Bolton's section. He's a past president of the club, but loves to tinker with the trains and towns as well.
Very nice. And this train station is incredibly eye-catching.
Yep, that's one of his custom mocks, so he's done a great job with that. Keeps adding little touches to it each year.
Very nice, very nice. And then coming on down here, what is this, a KFC?
Yep, so this is Jenny and John Joy. Jenny is our Nashville leader for the club, and so they've got some help from some of their members here to kind of finish out the layout for us.
Very nice, very nice. Well, Chris and everyone else that contributed to this layout, it really does look like you have an amazing group of people just really devoted to doing a successful layout. And Peter, thank you so much for sharing with us.
You're welcome. My pleasure.